the law. So over several election cycles, it was pretty clear that limited English-speaking citizens here in San Francisco who deserved access were not gaining access to the ballot. So in the 1978 elections, really we brought these cases of non-compliance to the U.S. Attorney Billy Hunter's attention here in San Francisco. And fortunately, he had a very good assistant U.S. attorney working in his office who would give us the time of day, Amanda Metcalf. And over a period of 1 year, she met with us, we cited where the problems were, and she took great interest. And that is important, to have someone within Justice Department to take interest in a problem that might be evolving or emerging. So Amanda paid attention. We continued to communicate with her. And then in one election, we found out and had evidence, eyewitness, where the then Registrar of Voter, Tom Kearney, really was going out of his way not to comply with the law. And we alerted Amanda Metcalf about this situation. She quickly got a deposition from this witness within the registrar's office, and through that deposition and declaration, we were able to essentially nail the Registrar of Voters. For that particular election, Amanda actually sent out federal observers to monitor polls both in Chinatown and in the Mission District. And as a result of that poll watching by federal observers, the U.S. Attorney then filed a lawsuit against the city and county of San Francisco. So at that time, it was the full weight of the U.S. government that came down on local election officials. And to make a long story short, through a lot of additional depositions and presentation of evidence, the U.S. Attorney was able to get the city and county of San Francisco to settle the lawsuit so that we could in fact have a program that would provide language access for Spanish-speaking and Chinese-speaking voters. And I guess the footnote to that particular lawsuit and the outcome of that settlement was that around that time that we got the settlement, the city registrar, Thomas Kearney, was transferred out of his job and assigned to the sewer department. Another kind of lightning rod during that time was really, and this is actually quite, it was a very tense political issue, and that was what type of voting machine would best provide access to Spanish-speaking and Chinese-speaking voters. And it actually became quite a battle between two voting systems. One that allowed for a trilingual ballot so that a voter would not have to request it, or another system where the voter would have to request a separate ballot either in Spanish or separate ballot in Chinese. Given that environment and the lack of friendly bilingual poll workers, we really fought for a ballot system that would allow a trilingual ballot so you would not have to disclose which ballot you would use. And at that time, it was really critical politically to have representation on the Board of Supervisors at that time. Because indeed, it was Supervisor Gordon Lau with Supervisor John Molinari who carried the water for the community to win and get a positive vote on the machine that allowed for the trilingual ballot. And in fact, the opponents on the other side were then Supervisor Dianne Feinstein and Supervisor Clinton Kopp. So it was a very heated battle, had a lot of political implications. But I have to say, over the years, and even immediately thereafter, Dianne Feinstein, when she became mayor, actually became a friend of bilingual ballots. And she even did ads to oppose this sort of advisory measure that will repeal bilingual ballots in San Francisco. So it was a very difficult time during those years.